Hi everyone, this is Eric with a review on the awesome flying Bugs 3 by MJX RC. This is one of the least expensive hobby grade quadcopters on the market that's all set up and ready to go. And because it is hobby grade, it is going to come with these really high performance brushless motors. It does come with a large 1800 milliamp hour battery, which is going to give you some pretty good flight times. I'll get into those. And it comes with the camera mount, which does have this little swivel right here. It doesn't come with the camera, but it fits a GoPro really nice. There are some optional cameras that you guys can choose if you want to go with the MJX brand. And I'll show you footage from the camera. So if you guys do plan on using this for aerial videography, you can see how that performance is going to come out on this camera. And I'll also show you some flight footage of the actual quadcopter so you can check out the performance of this thing. And I'll show you some close-ups of the features of this quadcopter. Now, I included a link in the description down below where you can get one of these. And if you guys do have any questions, please just leave them in the comments down below. If you don't care about all the bells and whistles and just want a low-cost, high-performance drone, then you'll definitely want to consider this one. The all-around build quality is great. The taller set of landing gear have a nice wide stance to keep them from tipping on rough landings. Filming with my GoPro on the quadcopter, the legs do get in the shot just a little bit, but that can easily be cropped out in post-production without losing a lot of your footage. I went ahead and left the raw footage in there so you can see how much the legs actually get in the shot. You also have sturdy pre-installed landing legs if you don't plan on using the bottom camera mount. It does include blade guards, but I highly recommend not flying this thing near any person or animals. The blade guards are not really going to do much if this thing hits someone. The blades are very sharp and they spin very fast, so please be careful when flying this thing. The camera mount holds my GoPro in place with a very secure latch. The camera vibration wasn't bad, but it wasn't perfect. I was able to improve the footage by simply wedging in some foam on either side of the mount to keep it steady. I didn't use this throughout the entire footage, so I'll add a note in the video so you can see which parts have the foam and which do not. The mount does tilt up and down manually. The brushless motors are very precise when even putting in the slightest controls. If you've ever tried capturing video from a drone with brushed motors before, you'll notice a big decrease in vibration and the jello effect that you usually get when trying to film video on a quadcopter that vibrates a lot. Now, it does not have a gimbal, so your shots are going to be pointed where the drone is pointed the whole time. But with light winds and a very steady hand, you can still get some very impressive shots even with this basic camera mount. Now, the acceleration on this thing is insane. Even with a heavy GoPro, this drone has a ton of power. Sometimes simple is better. I really like how I can just simply plug in the battery, turn on the control, and just go. Now, if you don't want to spend all that extra time setting up your GPS, your gimbal, and connecting the live FPV feed, this quadcopter can all be set up and ready to go in less than a minute. It has a very nicely balanced gyro, which holds this drone very steady when you let go of your right stick. Now, there is no GPS or altitude hold, so if there is a breeze, it will drift. This model has a very bright LED in front, which can be seen during the day, and it helps a lot when you get too far away to tell which direction it's pointed. If you're unsure of which way the front is pointing, just simply rotate the quad until you see that white light pointed at you, and you'll be able to guide it back in. I know a lot of people, this is how they lose drones, including me. You just fly out too far, the drone is just pointed in whatever direction you're not really sure, and it's kind of like a guessing game. You're not really sure which way is going to come back, and before you know it, it's too far and you can't see it anymore. And you also have a total of 16 super bright white and blue LEDs underneath, which do help a lot with orientation if it's up high enough. The top cover can be easily removed to access the main board. Here you'll see where you can attach the optional cameras that MJX offers. They offer a Wi-Fi camera, a 5.8 gigahertz camera, or their panoramic camera, and they also make like a sports action camera, kind of like the GoPro, or you can use your own. And they also have a couple different displays if you want to fly FPV on this thing. And there's also room in there if you do want to add your own FPV camera. And here you can see the 4 independent ESCs for each brushless motor. Now, flight times when carrying a GoPro and flying aggressively were around 10 minutes. So that's going to be your worst case scenario, which still is pretty good. Now, if you're flying slower, you'll be able to push over 15 minutes with this quadcopter. If if you're flying slow without a camera, you'll probably get as much as 18 minutes. The transmitter does have a range and battery alarm, which is nice if you're flying FPV or if you're flying too far away to notice the LEDs blinking on the quadcopter, warning you that the battery is low. The range was great. I took it pretty much as far as I could see it with no signal loss. Now, unless you're flying FPV, there's really no need to take it any further than that. The rotors are self-tightening, so there are no screws. If you're unfamiliar with quadcopters, just really make sure you pay attention to the A and the B blades. They're labeled on the blade and on each arm of the quad. If you install them in the wrong order, your quad simply won't fly. Thank you so much for watching. If you found the video helpful, I always appreciate those thumbs up. And if you have any questions, please just leave them in the comments down below and make sure to subscribe to keep up to date with my future reviews. Enjoy the rest of the flight footage. Bye. Okay, now I'll show you the controls, all the functions on the control. So let's go ahead and turn our control on first. Then let's go ahead and put in our battery. Okay. So it automatically binds. If it doesn't bind, just go ahead and bring your throttle up and all the way down. Now, the safety feature on this one is it's not going to automatically start the motor. So, even if it's bound, if you touch the throttle, it's not going to do anything. So I'm going to move it away from me just a little bit. And now to start it, you have your button up here on the left side. You're just going to press that and it's going to initiate the motors. So now when you see those blue lights underneath, that is when the motors are ready to go. And if you don't touch the throttle, it's going to turn off like it just did, like that. It's a safety feature. So when you're ready to go ahead and hit it again, spins up the motors, and now you're ready to go. If you want to stop it, hold it down and then it'll turn off the motors. Over here you have your speed settings. So it's going to switch between a high and a low speed. And then over here you have your 3D flips. So basically just hold that down, it's going to start beeping, and then you can do your flip in any direction you want to go, in front, back, side to side. And then this very last button over here on the right side, that's going to control your camera if you do have the MJX cameras. And then you have your standard trim over here and here. And then this button right here doesn't do anything. That's just a fake button.